The kindness of a stranger. The cosmic rain fell in shimmering sheets across Nebula City, painting the streets in hues of iridescent blue. Most beings had taken shelter, leaving the hovercab lanes nearly empty. Inside the Galactum supermarket on the edge of Human Sector 7, 17-year-old Zoe Starling found herself in line behind an elderly dragon. The dragon's once magnificent scales had faded to weathered gray, his wings folded tightly against his back, showing thin patches at the edges. His claws trembled as he fumbled with an old credit chip, its display flickering weakly. His hover cart held simple groceries, nutrient bread, blue milk from Centauri's moons, plasma soup, and a small birthday cake decorated with actual star sparklers. "I'm terribly sorry," the dragon murmured, his voice carrying the distinctive accent of Draken's Nebula. "I was certain I transferred 500 credits this morning." The blue-skinned Alterian cashier shifted uncomfortably as the line grew. Several tentacled Octovians checked their watches impatiently, while a family of rock people began literally petrifying with frustration. "Perhaps you'd like to try another payment method," the cashier suggested politely, though strain showed in her voice. The dragon's amber eyes dimmed with embarrassment. "I'm afraid I don't have another with me. Times have been challenging since the galactic realignment." Without hesitation, Zoe stepped forward and pressed her thumb to the payment scanner. She gave the dragon a gentle smile. "It's okay, really. The scanner will take my biometric payment." The dragon turned to her, his ancient eyes suddenly glistening with an inner fire that had nearly gone out. "You didn't have to do that, young human." "It's no problem," she said, waving away his concern. "Happy birthday, sir." The dragon didn't speak another word. He simply placed one weathered claw gently over her hand for a brief moment. The gesture was so quick Zoe almost thought she'd imagined it, but she felt a small spark, something warm, electric, magical, tingle through her palm. Then he gathered his groceries, nodded once with dignified appreciation, and shuffled out into the iridescent rain. His wings extended slightly to form a natural umbrella, and within moments, he had vanished into the blue-tinted shadows like a ghost from another era. The unexpected arrival. "That was most generous," the Alterian cashier commented as she processed Zoe's own purchases, vitamin-enriched cereal and self-cleaning towels. "Not many would show such kindness to an elder dragon these days. They've become somewhat controversial since the treaty." Zoe shrugged. "He just looked like he needed a break." "Nothing controversial about that." The cashier's luminous eyes studied Zoe with newfound interest. "Indeed. Well, enjoy your evening, citizen." Zoe thought nothing more of the encounter as she hurried home through the rain. Her apartment complex, Earthside Gardens, was designed to mimic 21st-century human architecture, updated with atmosphere control, hollow windows, and gravity stabilizers for the cosmic disturbances that had become common since the Great Collision of 2342. She mentioned the dragon briefly to her mother while shaking raindrops from her jacket. "Just paid for some old dragon's groceries. He looked like he really needed help, had a birthday cake and everything, but his credit chip wouldn't work." Her mother looked up from helping Zoe's younger brother Micah with his biomechanical leg adjustments. Micah had been born with gravitational muscle atrophy, a condition common among human children born after Earth joined the Galactic Confederation. "Kindness always comes back around," her mother said with a knowing smile. "That's something that translates across all 9,000 known species." Neither of them expected it to come around quite so fast. Exactly 3 hours later, as dusk's purple haze deepened to indigo night, 12 shimmering spacecraft descended through the cloud cover above their neighborhood. These weren't usual civilian transports, they were sleek, elongated vessels with distinctive markings resembling ancient corn husks wrapped around their hulls. The Elote. One of the oldest and most mysterious species in the galaxy rarely ventured into human sectors without official diplomatic missions. Yet here they were, 12 Elote ships hovering silently over Earthside Gardens, their engines emitting only the faintest hum, casting eerie patterns across ordinary streets. Zoe watched from her front porch, heart pounding, as neighbors emerged from their homes with faces upturned in awe and trepidation. The Alot were peaceful allies, but they were intensely private and selective about their interactions. Most humans went their entire lives without ever seeing an Alot in person. "What in the cosmos?" she whispered. "The Golden Revelation." The largest ship, shaped like an enormous corn kernel with impossibly smooth golden surfaces, descended until it hovered just 20 feet above Zoe's front yard. A beam of soft amber light extended down, and within it, a figure materialized. The Alot commander was tall and slender, with skin that seemed to be made of living gold. Intricate patterns flowed across their surface like liquid metal, and their eyes held the depth of ancient starlight. When they spoke, their voice resonated with harmonics that seemed to vibrate through the very air. "Zoe, Starling of Earth," the commander said, their words carrying weight that made the neighborhood fall silent. "We have come because of your actions this day." Zoe's mouth went dry. My actions? The being you assisted today, the one you showed kindness without expectation of reward, was Draken the Ancient, last of the Elder Council of Draco Prime. He is revered among our people as the keeper of the first flame, the one who helped broker peace between our species and yours during the dark wars of the Outer Rim. The commander's golden patterns shifted, showing what looked like reverence. Draken sent word through the cosmic network. He spoke of a young human who showed him dignity when he had been forgotten by most, who treated him not as a relic of the past, but as a being deserving of respect. Zoe felt her legs wobble. I just paid for his groceries. It wasn't anything special. To you, perhaps. But to one who has lived for 3,000 years and watched civilizations rise and fall, who has been increasingly ignored as younger generations forget the old ways, your simple act was a reminder that compassion still exists in the universe. The commander gestured, and the beam of light expanded to include Zoe's family, who had come to stand behind her on the porch. "The Alot have watched your species since you joined the Confederation. We have seen your potential, but also your struggles to find your place among the stars." More figures began materializing in beams of light from the other ships, Alot dignitaries, their golden skin bearing different patterns that seemed to indicate rank or specialization. "We have come to offer something that has never been offered to any species in the galaxy's recorded history," the commander continued. "We wish to share with you the location of the Sanctuary Worlds." The Sanctuary Worlds. A collective gasp rose from the gathered neighbors. Even Zoe, with her limited knowledge of galactic history, knew that the Sanctuary Worlds were legend, mythical planets where the Alot were said to have hidden the galaxy's greatest treasures and knowledge during the chaos of the Great Collapse. "The Sanctuary Worlds are real?" Zoe's mother whispered. "Very real," the commander replied. 7 worlds, each containing libraries of knowledge, technologies, and resources from civilizations that span back to the galaxy's birth. For millennia, we have guarded these secrets, waiting for a species to prove they possessed the wisdom to use such gifts responsibly. The commander's patterns shifted to show what appeared to be approval. "Your daughter's act today was not isolated. Our observers have noted similar patterns among humans across the galaxy. Small acts of kindness, moments of selflessness, choices to help others despite personal cost. These are the qualities we have been searching for." Another Alot stepped forward, their golden skin bearing star-like patterns. "The Sanctuary Worlds contain solutions to many of the problems your species faces. Advanced medical technologies that could cure Micah's condition and help millions of others. Clean energy sources that could power worlds without damaging their ecosystems. Agricultural methods that could end hunger across the galaxy." Zoe felt overwhelmed. "But why me? Why not world leaders or scientists or?" "Because," the commander interrupted gently, "leaders and scientists often think in terms of power and advancement. But you thought only of an old being who needed help. The Sanctuary Worlds cannot be claimed by force or intellect, they can only be accessed by those who understand that true strength comes from compassion." The commander extended a hand that gleamed like molten gold. "We offer you the chance to be humanity's first ambassador to the Sanctuary Worlds. You would learn our ways, understand the responsibilities that come with such knowledge, and help guide how humanity uses these gifts. Zoey looked back at her family, her mother's encouraging smile, Micah's wide-eyed wonder, her father appearing in the doorway with shock written across his face. Around them, the entire neighborhood watched in stunned silence. I need to think about this, Zoey said. This is enormous. It affects everyone, not just me. The commander's patterns shifted in what might have been a smile. Wisdom in the face of overwhelming opportunity. This, too, is why we chose correctly. The choice that changed everything. Take the time you need, the commander said. But know that this opportunity extends beyond yourself. The Alot Council has decided that if you accept, we will begin sharing our knowledge with humanity gradually, ensuring your species grows into this responsibility rather than being overwhelmed by it. Just then, through the cosmic rain that had begun to lighten, a familiar figure approached. The elderly dragon, Draken the Ancient, emerged from the shadows, his scales somehow appearing less gray than before, a subtle inner light emanating from within. Young Zoey, he said, his voice carrying newfound strength, I hope you understand that your kindness today has changed the course of galactic history. Zoey shook her head in amazement. All I did was pay for groceries. No, Draken replied, moving closer. You saw someone in need and acted without hesitation. You treated me with dignity when others saw only an inconvenience. In a galaxy where countless beings rush past each other's pain, you stopped. You cared. He looked up at the Alot ships, then back to Zoey. I have lived long enough to know that the universe operates on patterns bigger than we can see. Your small act of kindness rippled outward, reaching even the ancient Alot, who have waited eons for proof that newer species could be trusted with their greatest secrets. Zoey felt the weight of decision, but also something else, a certainty that seemed to come from that brief spark she'd felt when Draken touched her hand hours earlier. I'll do it, she said, her voice growing stronger. But only if the knowledge is shared with everyone, not just humans. Every species should benefit. The commander's golden patterns blazed brighter. Spoken like a true guardian of the sanctuary worlds. Over the following months, Zoey would travel to worlds beyond imagination, learning wisdom from beings older than stars. The medical technologies she helped bring back cured not only Micah's condition but countless others across the galaxy. The clean energy solutions began healing damaged worlds. The agricultural advances ended famines on dozens of planets. But she never forgot the lesson of that rainy evening, that the most profound changes in the universe often begin with the simplest acts of human kindness. Years later, when beings from across the galaxy would ask her how she became the youngest ambassador in galactic history, Zoey would always smile and say, I just helped someone with their groceries. And in the great libraries of the sanctuary worlds, where the history of civilizations was recorded, the entry for humanity's elevation to the Galactic Council began with a simple line. It started with kindness in a grocery store during a cosmic rainstorm. Draken the Ancient lived to see humanity flourish in ways that even his long life had never imagined. And sometimes, on quiet evenings, he would visit Zoey's family and share stories of the old days, always reminding young beings that the most powerful force in the universe wasn't technology or weapons, it was the choice to care for others when no one expected you to. The end.